Hi friends, happy Free Book Friday. I'm glad you could come to our story time. So today we're going to do something different. Sometimes when we tell a story, we do a picture walk first so that you can sort of get familiar with the pictures, and then when we read the story, you'll kind of remember what happened. The reason I did this is because I know a lot of you already know this story about Max, Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. And it's a funny story that I think you guys will remember. And I thought this time, when everybody's kind of home and maybe feeling a little bit grumpy that you can't go out, maybe being a little bit naughty like Max, that maybe this is a story that might be fun to read for today, okay? So first I'm going to put the story down on this beautiful piece of driftwood that Judy Heyer gave my family, thank you. And we're going to go through our picture walk. So here's the first page, Where the Wild Things Are. And this isn't going to be all of the pages, but it's enough for us to remember the story a little bit before I read it, okay? This is a picture of Max. And he's got a very grumpy face. Make a grumpy face. Max just got in trouble because he was misbehaving and not listening to his mom. And he was sort of being naughty to the dog, but we'll talk about that later. So he got put in his room, kind of like a timeout or an area where you should take a deep breath and calm down. And I think you guys know what that is, right? So he's in his room right here. And it's a pretty nice room, to tell you the truth. Nice plant, nice window. Okay. When he's in this room, he's still pretty angry that he has to not have dinner because his mom said he was being a wild thing, right? So he's in there and he starts to use his imagination. And part of the reason why he had a tantrum was because he's probably really too tired and he didn't take a nap and he feels all in a bad mood, right? So he's in his room and he's probably getting a little restless and he starts to use his imagination and he starts to think about what would happen if he wasn't in his room anymore and he kind of went out that window and sailed away and he lands on an island where there's like monsters and creepy things, but guess what? He's the king of them, and they listen to him. So see how he has a crown, and they're listening and dancing with him, and they're doing wild things, right? But then he sort of misses his mom and his family and his house and probably his room. So in this picture, he sort of looks like he's sad to me. I don't know what you think. But he's relaxing with his monster friend, but he looks sort of sad, right? And I think, when we read the story, you can think about it too. Is he sad because he misses his home? We'll see. Let's click that on our brain, and we'll think about it later. So he decides to leave this place, and he goes back on his boat, and the pretty big moon is up in the sky, and he takes his boat and he sails back to home, saying goodbye to his friends. And here's the really interesting piece. He goes and comes back to his room. I'm gonna hold it. Uh-oh, clothesline. And he's back in his room, and guess what? See the window? See the room? Sort of the same, right? Except there's dinner on the table. So when I've read this in the classrooms, some of you have been pretty smart and thinking maybe Max's adventure was a dream, and when he woke up, his mom had put his dinner in there and she forgave him for his misbehavior and he was going to eat dinner in his room. So we're going to read the story now and we'll see if what we think is how the story comes to be. Okay? I'm going to meet you in a different room for the story. See you in 2 minutes. Hello, friends. guess what? You are in the coolest room in the world. It is my beach room in my house. See the sand and the pretty pictures in the ocean? You probably have a place in your house where you like to go and relax. And this is Miss Joey's favorite place. So I thought, what a nice place to read you the story, Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. And I also want to thank my daughter Erin, who's been recording these stories for us, and Dhruti Shah, who's been helping me do all the different, getting it to the parents, and also Nick Gula, who has helped me get my YouTube page, because as you know, I'm already famous. All right, let's get to our story finally. I'm using these for my hair because I look like a wild thing because Miss Joey can't get her hair cut. So, see if it stays out of my eyes. Where the Wild Things Are. All right, so you're gonna remember some of these pictures from before our picture walk, and let's see if we remember how they go. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischiefs of one kind and another. All right, can we just talk about Max chasing his dog with a fork? Not nice, Max. I know, none of my friends do that. He's really being naughty, and his mom, I think, is really getting angry. So his mother called him Wild Thing, and it's all capitals, which means we say it with a loud voice. So you say, Wild Thing. And Max said, I'll eat you up. So he was sent to bed without eating anything. He got up to his room. I think you remember this picture, right? Of his bedroom, and he's in his wolf costume, and his face looks still pretty angry, right? That was the very night in Max's room that a forest grew. Now let's think about what we talked about before. Is this really happening, or is it in Max's imagination? I don't know. Let's think about it. And grew. And look, I think that Max is starting to get a little bit happier, and he's using his imagination, and he's thinking, and he doesn't have that angry face to me. What do you think? And grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. Wow. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. And it's a red-bottomed boat, and it says Max. And again, I see him smiling. He's getting in a better mood, I think. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Whoa. Are you nervous? Let's see if Max is nervous. Until Max said, "Be still!" All capital letters, so we have to say it loud. And tamed them with a magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened, and they called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all wild things. Uh-oh. Put on your binoculars and see Max's crown. Now he's king of all these wild things. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start. So that's like having a big, crazy, wild party, right? Oh, can you hear them? They're probably howling and yelling. You can do a woo-woo! Yeah, woo-woo, Max! Ah! And they're dancing, and his mouth is wide open, so he's yelling, I think. And then they went climbing on the vines. He's doing whatever he wants to do, and they're following him. And now he's like riding on their backs, and he's the king, and he's happy, and he's getting his way, and they're all saying, yes, sir, yes, sir. But now stop, Max said, sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Who else do we remember that got sent to their rooms without supper? Then, all around from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being the king of where the wild things are. See this face? He doesn't seem as happy. I think he's feeling a little bit homesick and maybe missing his parents, his family, his house, his room. I don't know. How would you feel? But the wild things cried, oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so. Max said no. The wild things roared their terrible roars, gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. Waved goodbye to the wild things. Goodbye, you funny guys. Sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. I think he's sleeping on the boat as it's sailing back. Where do you think it's sailing back to? Into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. So remember what his room looked like, and they had the little table there and the plant? Now there's food there. So what could have happened while he was in that room and when he was away? What are we thinking? So there's the food, and here's a very big clue. Are you ready? Drum roll. Brrr. It was still hot. Uh-oh. So wait a minute. What do we think? Did Max really go to those places? Or did he maybe fall asleep and dream about all those wild things? And then his mom came in, or dad, and put his food on the table so that when he woke up from his little cranky nap because he was being rude, chasing the dog with a fork, that he could eat his dinner and have a better day. I think so. So this was a very fun story, right? And we've all kind of been sometimes a little bit of wild things, but I know none of my friends have chased their dogs with forks. So if you want to do some pictures of Max and the wild things, you can go to www.getcoloringpages.com, and then I put a dash where the wild things are, and I got some cool pictures that you might be able to color much better than Miss Joey, right? Here's Max with a fork. And I just put a straw on it so you can have a puppet show at home. And here's Max's boat when he's sailing. And here are a few of the wild things. They're really nice guys, right? And girls. They just wanted to play with Max. Okay, so that was our story for this week. I very much hope That Class A, hello, and I hope you're doing well. Class B, I hope you're well. And C, I hope you're doing very well. And Class K, our really big guys, are all doing well. And I miss you very much, and I love you, and I will see you next week. Bye.